evening, everybody. Welcome into the High School Sports Zone.
Woo, baby!
I'm Jake Durant. Joining us once again is Peter Curry. Peter, it's nice to have you back.
Thank you very much for having me back. I am excited to finish the year off. Let's do this.
Well, we're actually halfway through the high school football season, so it is flying by. Week 5, it was a good one, and we have a lot to recap. Let's take a look back with our 3 and Out. For our first down, it was all about defense in our game of the week between L'Anse and Lakeland and Hubbell. Both teams entered the game at 3-1. We saw both the Lakes and Purple Hornets move the ball up and down the field, but nobody was able to get into the end zone. There was a lot of fourth down stops to kill drives and a few turnovers. The Lakes, they did threaten a score as the first half winded down. They just missed a pass and catch on fourth down. We stayed scoreless all the way into the fourth quarter with less than 2 minutes remaining in the game. L'Anse running back Jonah Dowd busted a 40-yard run to get L'Anse into the red zone. He then capped it off with a score to give L'Anse the 8-0 lead after a successful 2-point conversion. Dowd would add another score a bit later to seal it for the Purple Hornets, 14-0. As soon as I got there, I kind of realized, okay, this is going to be a tough one for both teams because both teams' defense, they did come to play. They were hitting hard, and like I said, not a lot of punts in this game. The coaches decided they wanted to go for fourth downs, and it just didn't happen to be a lot of scoring, I guess. What can you take away from a game like this, like a defensive game like this one we saw between L'Anse and Lakeland and Hubbell?
Well, I think keeping the defense, keeping the offense in the game, able to, they can fail and they'll make sure that we'll be back. Don't worry, we got your back. Let's keep it going. Is the best way of going about that kind of situation. As long as the defense got your back for that, the offense can continue, throwing the ball, rushing the ball, whatever they need to do. But it was great that they decided to show up because they truly needed them.
If L'Anse and Lakeland and Hubbell want to actually move on and go to the postseason like every team wants to do, I do think they really need to figure out the passing game. Both quarterbacks not very accurate throwing the ball. Like I said, they try to do a lot of run plays, and when it didn't work, they didn't really, try to exit that strategy and do something else just because the pass game wasn't working. So you never want to be one-dimensional in football, so I think that is something both teams need to figure out because these teams both mirrored each other pretty well. So I think going forward, I think both the L'Anse and Lakeland Hubbell head coach have some stuff to figure out because that is definitely something they're going to need in the future. The play of Negaunee senior quarterback Jason Waterman, the Miners, they hosted rival Ishpeming Friday night. They topped the Hematites 40-20. A big reason for that win was the play of their leader under center, Waterman. He led Negaunee with 272 yards passing and 5 touchdowns. He also had 190 yards rushing and a touchdown. Now, those are some video game numbers. The Miners are now winners of 3 straight after losing the first 2. Seems like they're turning the corner a little bit. Do you think the Miners are for real? Do you think they're finally figuring it out?
I feel like at the start of the season, it's never right away. You got to feel it out. You got some new guys coming in. You got the veterans, trying to figure it out once again, especially with their seniors that are now gone. As long as they continue to go on this path, I don't see them coming down at all. They've always had a rich history with their football program, and I don't see it ending anytime soon. So I'm just excited to see what happens with them.
Yeah, and that conference that they're in, all these teams are beating up on each other. There's a lot of teams that are right there. Any team can really win on any given night. So it's going to be interesting to see which teams are going to separate themselves as we enter the second half of the season. I'm excited to see it, but I do think Negaunee goes as far as Jason Waterman takes them. So he's going to have to continue playing at the high level. I don't think he necessarily needs to score 5 touchdowns, but I do think he needs to definitely be that leader and get that offense going. And then obviously defensively, they need to, play some good defense and stop some teams as well.
He's showing to be, so I just feel like he'll continue to be. So let's see what happens.
All right. We end our 3 and Out with our third down predictions. Last week, I chose Kingsford at home over Escanaba, and I couldn't have been more wrong about that one. Escanaba blew out Kingsford. Peter, you weren't here, so you didn't have a pick last week, but this week I'm going to go with Westwood traveling to Hancock, and I think the Patriots are going to pick up the win over the Bulldogs. I think both of these teams match up really well. I think Hancock, obviously they're coming off a really good game last week. Austin Solani, he's the real deal. He puts up a lot of points, but I just really like how this Westwood team is playing. They're really playing as a team. They don't really have a star other than Taylor Delangelo, who really gets it done on a weekly basis, but they have a lot of guys that couldn't really hurt you. And then obviously their defense got Sergila has these guys flying around. They really fly to the ball. And this is just a really good team. You know, they all play well together and things like that. So I'm going to go Westwood over Hancock.
I'm going to get behind Gwynn. They haven't won this season. They've been really close on some games. They've gotten smashed in other games. But I think, you know, with the run game that's very strong, obviously their quarterback's is a very good player, and he's looking like he's trying to take a lead, and he wants to make sure that this team gets at least, you know, a few wins under their belt this season. But I'm going to take Gwynn, and I think it's going to be a big win for them. So let's see what happens.
I really actually do like that pick with Gwynn. They do have a lot of athletes, Taquan Starnes, Caleb Anderson and company. I think they're better than an 0-4 team. So it would be really nice to see this Gwynn team go out and actually win their first game this season. So hopefully they can do that.
They're going to. I have faith in you all.
Faith in the Gwynn Model Towners. Later in the show, we're going to reveal where we're going to be headed for our next game of the week. But first, we've got Menominee Maroon head coach Joe Noah on our Marquette Automotive Hotline. We'll talk Maroon football as they prep for a huge test against Escanaba tomorrow.